Okay, let's dive in. We've got this fantastic analysis from a writing website. And, well, our mission with the deep dive is always to take source material like this
Yeah,
and extract the absolute most important insights, those nuggets of knowledge and aha moments that get you well informed quickly.
And today, that source is taking us deep into the craft of screenwriting. We're really zeroing in on something that feels, deceptively simple, character introductions.
Yeah.
It's totally foundational, but actually doing it well. That's surprisingly complex.
It seems like it should be easy, doesn't it? You just write who the character is, what they're doing, simple.
Uh-huh.
But the source makes this really powerful argument that the difference between a script that grabs you and one that, well, doesn't, often comes down to those very first moments.
Absolutely.
So we're going to unpack exactly what makes an effective character intro and look at some brilliant examples from famous movies to see these techniques really working.
It's all about leveraging that first impression, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
How do you signal to the reader and, essentially the audience exactly who this person is?
And why they should care.
Exactly. Why care? All within just like a line or two in their initial actions.
Yeah.
It's tough.
So the source breaks this down into two main components that make up a character's introduction in a script. What are those fundamental building blocks?
They call them character description and character entrance. Pretty simple labels, really.
Okay.
But they carry a lot of weight when they're used effectively.
Let's start with character description then. That's that brief line or two you see when a character first pops up on the page, right?
Go on.
And the source gives some really vivid examples of how the masters use this.
Oh, absolutely. Think about Kat Stratford in 10 Things I Hate About You. Her description isn't just her age and looks.
No.
No, it's 18, pretty, but trying hard not to be in a baggy granny dress and glasses, balancing a cup of coffee in a backpack as she climbs out of her battered baby blue 75 Dodge Dart.
Trying hard not to be? Pretty. Okay, that's not just visual. What does adding that kind of detail, that little bit of interpretation, achieve, like right off the bat?
Well, it immediately tells you about her internal state, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And her rebellion against norms.
Yeah.
You see the baggy dress, the old car, sure. But that line specifically clues you into her personality, her intentional effort to signal, I'm outside the mainstream.
Mm-hmm.
It's incredibly efficient storytelling.
Okay. How about Cassandra in Promising Young Woman? That description really hits you.
It really does. Late 20s, sprawled on a damp leather sofa, hammered, her hair plastered to her face, mascara under her glazed eyes, the skirt of her pinstriped work suit riding up.
Wow. Okay. That's intensely visual. Almost uncomfortable, really. And the contrast with the work suit immediately raises questions, right?
Definitely.
What's the source highlighting there?
It's using that physical state and appearance to convey immediate vulnerability. And a stark contrast between her public persona, which is implied by the suit, and her current reality. You instantly get a sense of her struggle, her situation. It's powerful stuff.
And Ian Donnelly in Arrival, his description seems different, like it blends appearance with something less tangible.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Late 30s, Oxford shirt, wild hair, fierce eyes, and a smile in the corner of his mouth that makes it hard to tell what he's thinking.
Right.
So here, it's not just what he looks like, but how he comes across. Those fierce eyes, that ambiguous smile. It creates immediate intrigue.
It makes him a puzzle you want to solve. Okay, what about Walt Kowalski in Gran Torino? There's one specific detail the source points out as particularly effective there.
Yes, that's right. Looks young for his age. He has slate blue eyes, physically fit, and has had the same buzzcut hairstyle since getting out of the military in 1953.
Since 1953?
That detail. The buzz cut since 53. It's hyper-specific.
Yeah.
And it grounds him in a particular era, a particular identity. His military past isn't just like a backstory fact dropped in later.
No, it's visible.
It's visibly part of who he is today, right now in the story.
That's such a tiny detail, but it speaks volumes, doesn't it? About his rigidity, his past, his whole sense of self. Okay, finally, the description for Erin Brockovich in Erin Brockovich. That one feels a bit more interpretive, maybe?
It is, yeah. The source notes, a beauty queen would come to mind, which in fact she was. Tall in the miniskirt, legs crossed, tight top, beautiful, but clearly from a social class and geographic orientation whose standards for displaying beauty are not based on subtlety.
Okay, so that description doesn't just tell you what she looks like. It immediately places her socially and kind of challenges certain perceptions about beauty and class.
Exactly. It's blending physical appearance with a really sharp cultural observation.
It's almost like the writer is giving you a lens to see her through.
Precisely. So these examples, they really show how the description isn't just a physical casting call. It's packed with character, context, and implication.
Okay, so that's the description part on the page. The second component you mentioned is the character entrance. This is about the scene itself, what the character is actually doing the very first moment you meet them.
Right. The action they take.
Yeah.
That encapsulates something essential about them. The go-to example from the source is Jack Sparrow in Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh, yeah.
We first see him sailing into port.
On a sinking ship.
On a sinking ship, exactly.
Well, it's perfect. It instantly tells you everything you need to know about him, basically.
Totally.
He's a pirate, he's resourceful, he's probably getting into trouble, and he does things his own way, even if it's, like, barely functional.
Or think about Marge Gunderson in Fargo.
Yeah.
Her introduction is just iconic.
Oh, yeah. Waking up.
Being woken in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Slipping her winter coat over her very pregnant belly.
Yeah.
And leaving her loving husband to go investigate a crime.
The image of her pregnant, leaving that warm bed to face the cold, dark world of a murder investigation. It just defines her dedication, her inherent goodness.
Through pure action and visual contrast,
Yeah.
it sets her moral compass immediately.
Totally. And Daniel Plainview in There Will Be Blood. How do we meet him?
We meet him covered in sweat and dirt at the bottom of a mine shaft, physically digging.
Right.
The source points out this shows his almost like psychotic ambition through relentless action.
He's literally introduced in the act of pursuing his driving force. It's incredibly stark.
Yeah.
And effective.
Super effective. So you had the description and the entrance. Now, as the source argues, every screenwriter includes these, right? That's standard.
Sure.
But the crucial distinction the source makes is how much heavy lifting these elements are doing for the master compared to, say, the beginner.
So it's not just a procedural step, it's a critical tool.
Exactly.
Because as the source emphasizes, you never get a second chance to make a first impression in a script.
Never.
These intros aren't just introducing who the character is, they have deeper sort of functional jobs to do for the story and the reader.
Precisely. The source highlights three primary functions of a truly effective character introduction. What's the first key job it performs?
Okay, first, it helps focus the reader's attention on what's important. I like the source's analogy of, like, a conductor telling you which instrument to listen to.
Right.
And how loudly.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
By how much attention, how much detail, and what kind of action you give a character in their introduction, you signal their importance. Think of 28 Days Later.
Okay.
In that opening sequence, the characters are often just labeled activist or scientist.
Generic. And that tells you immediately these aren't the characters whose journey you're following long term.
Exactly.
Okay.
You don't need their life story right then.
It's screenplay shorthand, really.
A very efficient way to direct the reader's focus. Yeah. Saves time, keeps things moving.
Okay, function number 2. How does a good intro hook the reader?
It hooks readers into the character themselves. Because stories are ultimately about people, right? Or creatures or whatever we're meant to care about. A compelling introduction creates that initial pull. Maybe it's admiration, maybe revulsion, maybe fear, or just intense curiosity.
Whatever it is, it makes you want to turn the page.
Exactly. See what they do next. Follow their story.
It gives you an immediate emotional anchor point to the character.
Got it.
And the third function.
It helps establish a character's emotional starting point. The source refers to this as their emotional resting heart rate, which I thought was interesting.
Emotional resting heart rate.
Yeah. Even if they're in the middle of a chaotic scene when we first meet them.
So the state or action you first see them in sets the baseline for who they are and how they typically operate, like their default setting.
Pretty much, yeah. It's their exhibit A. That first moment should ideally encapsulate something essential about them. It provides a point of reference for their behavior throughout the story.
And then any change or deviation later feels more significant?
Absolutely, because that initial expectation was set so clearly.
Okay, this brings up something interesting the source mentions. Often in professional finished scripts, character descriptions can be surprisingly short.
Right.
If they're so important, why would that be the case sometimes?
That's a good question. It's often about maintaining the flow of the script on the page. Readability.
Okay.
A long, dense block of description can really interrupt the rhythm of a scene. So in those cases, the character entrance what they are doing, how they are behaving in that moment, carries even more responsibility.
It has to do more work.
It has to do more work conveying that initial information.
Yeah.
The action shows you who they are, sometimes much more effectively than just telling you in a description.
So it's not that the information isn't there, it's just conveyed more subtly. It's integrated into the scene itself.
Right. It trusts the reader, or the eventual viewer, to pick it up through action and context, rather than just explicit description.
More sophisticated, maybe.
Exactly. The description might be minimal, but the impact of the introduction isn't diminished. Good writing kind of pulls you in without highlighting all the machinery behind it.
Okay. So for someone listening who wants to understand this craft better, or perhaps even try their hand at writing, how does the source suggest actually crafting these really impactful character intros? What's the practical advice?
Well, they offer 3 key pieces of advice. First, and this is crucial, get specific.
Avoid the generic stuff, like not just tall and thin or attractive brunette.
Precisely. Every single word in that precious intro space counts. The source quotes Michael Hauge saying you need 2 or 3 clear, succinct, and vivid details that create a picture and that convey something of the essence of that character.
Okay, 2 or 3 vivid details.
Yeah, and crucially, these details must be relevant to the story and who this character is in this specific world. You need concrete, tangible things the reader can latch onto.
Things you can almost see or feel.
Right, and meet them doing something specific and defining. Don't just have them walk into a room, have them do something that tells us about them.
Specificity makes them feel real and memorable immediately. Got it. What's the second piece of advice?
Editorialize judiciously. Now this is interesting because it slightly challenges that strict show-don't-tell rule you sometimes hear in writing advice.
Okay, so sometimes a little telling is actually okay in an intro.
Yes, exactly. For character introductions, especially for key characters, it can be very effective. The source quotes John August calling it cheating a little, but effective.
Cheating? Why?
Well, because the reader doesn't have an actor's performance yet to fill in the gaps. So the goal is finding details with an iceberg quality.
Iceberg quality, meaning?
The description on the page is just the tip, right?
Great.
But it implies a huge amount about their past, their personality, their situation, all lying below the surface.
Okay.
It's about blending that physical appearance with hints of their internal world, their history.
Well, like that description of Kat Stratford we talked about, trying hard not to be pretty.
Perfect example.
That's editorializing, it's an interpretation, but it gives you a huge insight into her character's motivation right away.
Exactly. It's adding a layer of interpretive understanding for the reader that pure physical description might miss. Judiciously, though, not overdoing it.
Right, judiciously. And the third piece of advice?
Use the scene to reveal.
This goes back to the character entrance point we discussed, right? What they are doing shows who they are.
Absolutely. It's all about the action. Their initial actions, how they react to their environment, the choices they make in that very first scene, that's incredibly powerful, showing, not telling.
Establishes their baseline?
Precisely. It establishes their baseline behavior and sets expectations. And like we said before, when their behavior changes later, that initial yardstick makes the change feel much more impactful because we saw who they were at the start.
Okay, let's try putting all these pieces together now. The source uses Hell or High Water as a great example. How do the introductions for the 2 brothers, Toby and Tanner, show these techniques in action?
Yeah, it's a brilliant example. Let's look at Toby Hansen first. The description is, late 30s, a kind face marked by years of sun and disappointment, rides shotgun. It's not the face of a thief, it is the face of a farmer.
Okay, marked by years of sun and disappointment. That's incredibly specific, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And it uses that judicious editorializing to hint at his history, his struggles, without spelling it all out.
Right. And that line, it's not the face of a thief, it is the face of a farmer.
That's a direct editorial statement, but it immediately defines his core nature and creates this tension given what they're probably about to do in the scene.
Exactly. It uses specificity and that editorial touch to give you that iceberg quality we talked about. You sense there's a deep story behind that face, and there's internal conflict brewing.
Okay, then there's Tanner Hansen. His description.
Tanner is 40, his brother's opposite in every way. Mustache, shaggy hair, an air of danger that attracts as many women as it repels.
Again, you get specific visual details. Mustache, shaggy hair. But then that editorializing, his brother's opposite, an air of danger that has a specific contradictory effect on people.
It immediately establishes his relationship to Toby, They're opposites. And his own volatile, kind of charismatic nature. You get him instantly.
You immediately understand their dynamic and their contrasting roles just from those initial descriptions, even before they really interact much.
And then, of course, the scene itself, where we meet them together, riding somewhere purposeful.
Yeah.
Through their dialogue and just how they are together.
Yeah.
It reinforces these initial impressions and shows their relationship in action.
So in just those few lines, in the context of that opening scene, the writers used succinct specificity, judicious editorializing, and action to create these fully formed, intriguing characters. They have implied histories, clear roles, right from the moment they appear.
They're not just described, they're defined. Defined in a way that makes you lean in and want to follow them, see what happens next.
So, okay, zooming back out then, what's the big takeaway here for you listening to this? Why does understanding this level of craft matter, maybe beyond just screenwriting itself?
Well, I think it changes how you watch movies, how you engage with stories generally. When you understand the intentionality behind character introductions, you start noticing how early those critical signals are sent. You see how the writer is subtly guiding your attention, shaping your initial emotional response, and really laying the groundwork for the entire character arc, and often the themes of the whole story, right from frame 1 or page 1.
It makes you appreciate that those seemingly small details at the very beginning aren't just, like, throwaways.
Not at all.
They are foundational bricks for everything that follows. Character intros aren't just formalities you rush through to get to the plot.
No, they are powerful tools. Tools for focus, for emotional connection, for establishing expectations.
And the most effective ones are clearly deliberate, specific, use insightful interpretation where it helps, and rely heavily on what the character's doing to show us who they are from moment one.
It's all about signaling, really. Signaling to the reader or the audience that they are in capable hands and that every choice being made on the page or screen is meaningful, intentional.
Okay, so for our provocative thought this time, something for you to think about. The next time you settle in to watch a movie, or maybe even read a script online if you do that, make a conscious effort to pay extra close attention to the very first moment a main character appears on screen or is introduced on the page. Really focus on it.
Okay, so what should you look for specifically?
Ask yourself, what are the specific visual or descriptive details you're given about them? And maybe more importantly, what are they doing in that exact moment? What's their action?
And then consider your reaction.
Yeah, what's the immediate gut feeling or impression you form about them? Are you drawn in? Are you wary, sympathetic, intrigued? Why do you feel that way?
And then track how that holds up.
Exactly. As the story unfolds, think about how that very first impression, those initial details and actions, how they set up everything that follows for that character and their place in the story.
It's fascinating when you start looking for it, how much work that first moment is actually doing.
It really is. Well, thanks for joining us for this deep dive into character introductions.